Peace, peace. What's going on? What's going on out here on these YouTube streets? How's everybody doing this evening? If you're new to the channel, appreciate you coming through to stop by and check out some of my content. If you've been around for a while, I appreciate you guys coming back to support the channel. I go by the name of Minister Jew. And I want to talk about Carri Richardson this evening. And I kind of want to get into some cause and effect, right? So first of all, let me see. Can y'all hear me out there? I just want to make sure people can hear me out there. Trio Kaz, I see you in the chat. Salute. Peace to you. Somebody in the chat, just give me some feedback. Let me know if you can hear me out there loud and clear. Let's see. Giving people opportunity to get on in here, but we're going to get started. Let's see. Peace, peace. All right. Kiwanis, what's going on? How you doing? Peace, peace. Appreciate y'all. So welcome to the channel again. I go by the name of Minister Jew. And tonight we're just going to have a brief discussion about Carri Richardson and from the angle in which I best know how to dissect things, which I consider to be one of the highest, if not the highest, levels of being able to interpret reality. All right. So I know it's a whole lot of narratives going on. You know, it's a bunch of opinions about the situation. You know, Carri has captured the imagination of a very large portion of the world. Not only Black people, but she's captured the imagination of millions, you know, all over the world, inspiring people to be, you know, to be the best version of themselves and become the greatest version of themselves that they can be. But as usual, you know, when these type of things happen, we you know, we had a typical conversation. It's always the you know, race, you know, some form of deception. People, you know, that type of energy gets brought into the conversation that fast in relationship to when things like this happen. So if you on any of the social medias, I'm quite sure that's pretty much what you've been hearing. You know, I've been seeing people, you know, bringing up Mike Phelps, and when he got caught, I think it was a picture of him, if my memory serves me correct, a picture of him smoking some weed, and they suspended him. And so, you know, a lot of emotions the uptick of emotion gets really, 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 really high when things like this happen. But I don't want to talk about it on that level at all, right? Not saying that it's not important. Not saying that people who are having a conversation from that level is not important. Everything has its place. But I like to talk about cause and effect. And now some people may say, well, Jew, is real simple. The cause is she smoked some weed, and the effect is she's been disqualified, right? That would be the average person's input to this situation. But I want to take it a step further, because see, we hear these, you know, we hear these terms like, or these phrases like, as above, so below, and man, know thyself. All of these terms that when you're supposed to become conscious, these are the terms that get thrown around. You know, those are that's to show you done got swole, you grown, you an adult, you understand the cause of the phenomenon of life. But really, what I've come to realize is that people just be parenting, and they really don't be about the lifestyle, right? That really what it boils down to. Because if you really was about the lifestyle, you would be able to see tangible results in your immediate environment. But that's a whole nother conversation. But there's another, people always say as above, so below, right? But then there's as within, so without. And so it was and Pooh had made a post, man. And listen, if y'all caught wind over on Facebook, all my old school Facebook friends, if I can call you my friends, I probably made a lot of people mad over there when I was on Facebook, probably dropping so many truth bombs. It happens. But if you consider Minister Jew a friend of yours via social media, you know, as you know, I'm not over there anymore. You know what I mean? But Pooh shared something for me tonight, you know, to get people over there who were still familiar with my content to come on over and check the program out. So peace to y'all. Shout out to y'all for coming over if you came over from Facebook. But Pooh made a post over there, might have been earlier this week, either late last week or early this week, where he said, your destiny or fate is not in the stars, but it is in your decisions that you make, in which the stars mirror or reflect that decision at a particular time. And I said, man, that's heavy, Noble, right? Because I know exactly what he's getting at, right? He's trying to get people to understand that it is the thought that is actually the cause of the phenomenon. See, we, you know, and I get it, man, because we in a world where, you know, show me the results. And so sometimes it gets so, everything's objective to the quote unquote intellectual mind, right? But I always say this, there's nothing that a man or a woman can point to that is in this world that has been created by a man or a woman that did not first begin in the realm of thought. Nothing. Point blank, nothing. And so my teaching is always predicated upon that foundation stone. Because without it, there's no thing, right? To give glory to give praise to give pat on the backs about, it just don't exist. So when Pooh made that comment, I was like, man, you know, he's trying to get people to understand how thoughts, decision making, you know, actually using your cortex, right? How the things that we're processing within our minds is being reflected back to us through a cosmic phenomenon or alignment, right? So I know you're probably saying, damn, Jew, what does any of this have to do with Carri Richardson? I'm going to tie it in for you so that you can understand exactly what I mean by what I'm saying. So first, I have to preface this conversation because we talking mirrors, reflections. I have to preface this by saying I got to give you guys a little neurological framework before I kind of go into this. You and I have something inside of our brains called mirror neurons. Google it. Mirror neurons. In fact, it was just a study that came out. I might have posted this a week and a half ago on my Instagram page. If you're new to me, like, subscribe, hit the share button, follow me on Instagram, theimaginationguru.com. Plenty of content over there. I posted an article over there where these theoretical physicists are now saying things like, what if our entire reality is based upon entanglement and quantum mirrors. Right? So now you got the big wigs who are in the laboratories doing the equations, right? All this big time $1 million machinery, who are now coming. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Quantum physics is where you will find out the science behind what you think spirituality is. I'm gonna repeat that. Quantum physics is where you'll find the gems or the truths about what you think spirituality is. You will start to understand the mechanics of how this entire universe is working. And once you get down to that level, things run contrary to your logic. This is why some brilliant intellectual minds still have a hard time understanding the nature of the mind, or what people would call this invisible force, right? Sometimes it becomes very difficult. But if you pierce the veil into some of these case studies, some of these revelations that's coming out of the quantum physics community, man, these outputs run parallel to a lot of these things that were written in these ancient texts thousands of years ago, embedded in parable, embedded in allegory. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to be able to be a pro and jump right into this thing and understand it, but boy, oh boy, just give yourself some time. Like I gave myself some time, and it becomes apparent what's actually going on down here, right? So in your brain, you have something called mirror neurons. And what these mirror neurons do is when you, the observer, looks at a phenomenon outside of self, right? When you look at something objectively and you look at with repetition, you look at the steps or how something actually works. Or you're looking, say for instance, you're looking at somebody make a certain type of motion or movement. And a good example of this would be the Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan videos that I always reference. And Kobe's always, that video is showing the mirroring effect of how Kobe watched hours of footage of Jordan, so much to the point where every location on the basketball court where Jordan would make a bodily gesture or a mannerism or a shot or anything, Kobe mirrored exactly Michael Jordan's whole imprint. And if you look at that video, you will say, God damn, this is weird. And you would say that because you don't know what you're looking at scientifically, right? So in your brain, these mirror neurons, they start to get you to believe that you can do the same thing or that something else is possible when you begin to imitate it at a lower level. This is not up for debate. These are neurological facts. Okay? And so what also happens with these mirror neurons are that they begin to simulate the same experience that you are watching, and your brain starts to simulate and co-create the same amount of emotional imprints that you are watching via the other person do or communicate. Now, everybody always mention, and I had to explain that first so that you could and how do they put it in scripture in the book of Ephesians? It tells you what, Jew? Be imitators of God. Be imitators of God. Now, if you're new to my channel, I'm not talking about a God somewhere out in the sky, right? And me and Ampu had this conversation all the time. In fact, we just had it yesterday. We can't rule out this intelligence. We can't 100% rule it out. But I don't like to talk about quote unquote God in that way because it's too much gray area and a lot of people start to get irresponsible. And they never realize the self-accountability of what it means to do the verb that I call godding. You have to do the godding, right? And that comes with understanding how you're made. How does your conscious and your subconscious mind come together to make holy matrimony? Huh? Right? But anyways, so you have to understand this dynamic first before I get into what I got to say about Carri. So this thing moves beyond, because people always say spirit, 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 right? And then you got the intellectual mind that will say, okay, spirit just means air. Okay, yes, that's the translation for it. But there's other translations for the word spirit. And people in my membership know because we go way beneath the surface, man. But there's another definition for it that means a region of the sky, a portion of the sky is another translation for spirit. Ooh-wee. Right? So now, and then you wonder why over in Corinthians they talk about the second Adam. Huh? But that's a whole nother conversation. So what we have to understand is that we're living in a mirroring universe. Okay? But you have to understand, I call it conscious programming and unconscious programming. But you can't get outside of cause and effect, whether you're conscientious or not. You're going to reap what you sow, whether you're aware of it or not. So it's best for you to become aware of what you're mirroring or what you're looking to have mirror your thoughts. Now, this is why, because the next question that you're going to ask yourself is this. How do I know when I'm the projector versus the one who's under the influence? Huh? It comes down to, have you named what it is that you want? Have you decided, as Ampu said, what it is that you want? The moment that you step inside of that seat, 9 out of 10, you're the driver, or what they call Shem in the Old Testament, which is Noah's son. Shem. But Shem means name. Did you name it? So people always tell you in manifesting, the biggest problem people have, they don't know what they want. They can't pinpoint and name exactly what they want. So that whole story of Noah with Shem, Ham, and everybody running around here to my, oh, the curse of Ham, he was black. No, you need to be, the curse is good. And it ain't got nothing to do with, black people suffering, and that ain't got nothing to do with that. But see, this is why this quantum thing is so weird. Because see, if you believe that and you take that into your psyche, then you're going to act out that same imprint that you think is real for you and your people. But that ain't you. That ain't Ampool. That ain't the people in the quantum imaging membership and other people who have awakened from the dream of life to understand what this phenomenon is really all about. And then you got to deal with people mad because you don't want to identify with the groupthink of poverty, lack, and a victim. No, sorry. I'll have that. But the thing is this. These mirror neurons are being activated at multiple levels. Multiple levels. So, Carri did what, Jew? Remember? She got the long nails. Who was she imitating? Who was she mirroring, Minister Jew? Everybody started putting out the meme with Sha'Carri and Flo-Jo, where they had Flo-Jo behind Sha'Carri cheering her on, right? And shout out to the brother Chris Banks, one of my members. He dropped a jewel on me today that inspired me to do this video, because I don't even be on YouTube like that no more. My head be down in my membership coaching up my team, man. Just put a testimony over today from Trish. She went on and copped that brand new Jeep, took that off her prayer wall, right? Huh? My other girl, Latidra, $36,000 check. Yeah, I said it. I proclaimed it earlier and many years ago. It's only going to get bigger and better over here because it's momentum. It's consistency. I'm not stopping. I'm on a mission to show and prove that mind science is the cause of the phenomenon of life. So we doing big things over there. I got a book signing coming up down in Atlanta in about 3 weeks. The link is in the description box below if you want to come kick it with the Prime Minister down in the ATL. July 24th, new book release and signing, Hip Hop Laws of Attraction is the title. Can we really speak it into existence? A closer look at some of hip hop's most prophetic lyrics. It's a masterpiece. I got a legend, the DOC. What up, Doc? The DOC from NWA, straight out of Compton, right? The DOC wrote the foreword for you, boy. Laced me up something nice. It's really a testimonial, because I don't be telling all my business, but me and the Doc, strong relationship for the past 18 months. Had some jewels to drop on the Doc. And I put them in the book, and probably the most important chapter in the book, where I get into the good, the bad, and the ugly of the tongue. Right? My whole purpose for writing is to uplift the culture, to show them that, yeah, we are the gods. But you got to know how to use this thing conscientiously. Right? That's what we're doing. You want to make it on down, I suggest you do. If you can get on down, come on down. Right? That's what we're doing. It's going to be live. And then the next day, the 25th, which is a Sunday, we're going over to Stone Mountain to put in some galactic activation work. For those that have been around long enough, y'all know what it is. But that's the promo. But let's keep it going. So he was imitating Flo-Jo with the nails. And everybody came out and was like, man, She reminds me of FloJo, and they were making all the memes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then that went viral for like 2 weeks. Right? So then I said, man, Jew, let me go check these charts. Let me go look, Jew. Let me go look at Sha'Carri. And then let me go look at FloJo. Let me see, do I see any mirroring effect? And boy, it was there. Right? FloJo born, Mars conjunct Jupiter. Sha'Carri born, Mars conjunct Jupiter. That's a big time athlete, big time competition. Right? That's what that is. And they demonstrate that. She's demonstrating it now, and FloJo was demonstrating it in her day, back in the 80s. But see, here's the thing. When you start to copy and paste, right? When you begin to copy and paste, or do as the book of Ephesians talks about, to imitate God, you got to be careful, because you can take on an attribute of what it is that you're copying and pasting that you may not want to experience. So this is where you have to be a scientist to understand how to use the laws of consciousness and know the ins and outs. Because see, guess what else happened to FloJo? FloJo qualified to run the 100-meter dash in 1980. Just like Sha'Carri qualified to run the 100-meter yard dash in 2021. But FloJo didn't get a chance to run in it. Why? What happened, Jew? In that year, the United States went on a boycott of the Olympics. So FloJo didn't get to run. Sha'Carri, and this is why I only like to talk about it from the level of cause. Because once we start to get down into the world of effects, it's like it's too late. It doesn't matter the culprit. It doesn't matter the reason why. Because that's not the real reason why. But something has to unfold in order for this quantum phenomenon to become Japhet in scripture, which is Ham's third son, which his name means to what? Objectify, or to project out. So all of these things that we're thinking is the cause ain't the cause. Everybody, 99.9% of people are going to analyze what happens as that they're thinking is a cause. It's really the effect. Right? So I'll give you another example of this. Same effect. No matter how it happens. See, what you'll start to learn in quantum mechanics is this. They tell you right out the rip, there's infinite possibilities. This is why your logical mind, you will be hard pressed to try to figure out exactly how the wave is going to collapse. It's just too much computing to push to your conscious mind. This is why it's really a subconscious process, which is activated through what, Minister Jew? Images and replicas of images. So the minute she starts to replicate FloJo, you know what she's doing? She's tapping into the influence of FloJo. And guess what? You don't have to be alive in order for somebody to tap into your current. Huh? You don't have to be alive in order for somebody to tap into your current. So, the moment she steps into that line of space, or that thought pattern by image, you can see the subconscious mind. People always like, oh, you got to go within, you got to go deep. And I always be looking, people be talking like that. I'd be like, where is the deep part? Where, huh? You got to go within. But then they stop right there, and it just be a bunch of fluff. You have to know what the hell you're talking about. What activates the subconscious mind? Symbols, images, elevated emotions. Where can we locate the subconscious mind? Let me tell you where it's at. It's in your limbic brain, in your temporal lobes, your hippocampus, your amygdala, your caudate nucleus, all of these different places. Huh? Then when you start to impress all of these things, right? Learning to stimulate the vagus nerve, to get the parasympathetic nervous system going. All of this amazing mechanics and mathematics is going on. Now you're starting to tune in to the force that is working within you, through you, around you, and in everything else in the universe. You're saying, i.e., the parable of the persistent widow. I'm knocking. Here I am. Let me in. I know there's magic in there. I know there's miracles in there. I know it's manifestation in there. I know it's infinite possibilities in there. Let me come drop off this impression so that I can get this J-fat going, so that I can objectify these things in my world. Right? So now that infinite possibility, that wave has collapsed. So you got to ask yourself, listen, man, listen. You got to ask yourselves a question. Here's a young lady who has blown to stardom just like that, right? And her mother passes, right? And then she takes a hit of some weed. Now, here's the thing. She's been working for this moment for probably the last 4 or 5 years of her, probably, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years, probably realistically, of her young adult life. She knows the rules. She knows she get caught smoking weed. They're going to clip her, just like they're going to clip anybody else who they catch smoking weed, right? And it's beyond the point of whether they should allow it or whether they should not. I don't want to have that conversation, because it's just a bunch of hypotheticals, theoreticals, and it's a bunch of opinionated, okay, cool. But the larger question is this. What really influenced her? See, let me tell you something about influence in these mirror neurons. The emotional imprint, when you start to emulate these things or replicate these things in consciousness, right? At that point, you have told the super consciousness to take over and make things move. Now, this could be good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whatever. And then all of a sudden, a series of events, because see, it always got to come through a series of events. The wave has to collapse from potential possibility to a definite reality. A definite physical something. But there's a larger question to pose, but I ain't going to pose that question because I don't want people who don't understand the science to be getting all sensitive on Minister Jew. But see, the thing is, once we decide what it is that we want to replicate, we have to be ready for all of the circumstances and situations that will follow the impression that you've made, in order for your life to take a similar trajectory of the object you are replicating. You see? So now her life story is running parallel to FloJo's as far as outcomes are concerned. The circumstances around it may be different, but all of the end goals and the things that are attached to what she's envisioning are starting to line up and parallel Flojo's experience. Listen, listen, listen. Go look at the word influence and go do your definitions on it and see what you get. The root of the word influence stems from what, Jew? It says a flowing of water, a flowing of water, right? Emanating from stars. But what were they really saying, Jew? Waves. Influence by way of waves. I was in the barbershop tonight and having a conversation, right? They was watching the Fred Hampton movie up in there that came out a few months back or last year, whenever it came out. And I had to school these cats on some principles of mine. You know what I'm saying? But like, we don't know how we're made, yet we're running around here trying to figure out how to solve a problem and some very big problems. And we don't even know how we're wired or how we're made. What compels a person to act? What compels a person to change? So we're really working backwards, and everybody got all these damn opinions. But then you ask them, well, what happens when you mount an image in your mind for 30 days? What does it do to your cortex? Huh? Or what happens when there's trauma, whether it be physical blunt trauma or emotional traumas? What happens to the hippocampus when trauma is introduced to it, Jew? And how does that affect our ability to problem solve? But see, everybody around here got all these opinions, right? And but they don't know nothing. They have spent no time figuring out how we're made. Meanwhile, you open up some of these case studies in these books and you see Stanford, Harvard, Penn, all these other places are researching the phenomenon of consciousness in the mind. And some of these studies is 60, 70, 80 years ago. Huh? 60, 70, 80 years ago. And here it is, myself and Ampu for the last 10 years, been offering these products and these services to people to get their mind together, because we've dedicated our time to this phenomenon to get as many people out the mud as possible. But some people can't dedicate themselves. Some people, they just would rather just run around willy-nilly, da-da-da-da. But anyways, I'm going to give you an example. So the novel Dracula came out May 26, right? May 26. Dracula, famous novel. They made many movies behind that, right? And I got some names. Let me read these names. You had Christopher Lee, who played Dracula, birthday 5/27. Vincento Price, who played Dracula, birthday 5/27. Peter Cushing, who played Dracula, birthday 5/26. All of the men who played that role, Dracula, birth dates all are in alignment with the date that the book was actually published and released, May 26. You think that's a coincidence? See, the layman thinks that's a coincidence. See, and this is what I mean about mirroring. In writing, there's multiple techniques. Let me tell you something about this object. See this object right here? This thing is dangerous. Dangerous. Let me calm down. You have to know how this phenomenon works. I really want to do something for Shikari. I really do. And I might put something together with just my membership and keep it private, right? Because nothing's final. I don't give a goddamn what them people say at the Olympics. It ain't nothing final. I created a whole technique about unraveling what you think is final, called the positron pass. Huh? Listen, I think I'm the only person around here come out, you can rewrite the past. But see, it sounds crazy, but if you understood what's happening at a quanti level and how light and photons are working, ain't no such thing as past, future. That don't exist. It's all happening simultaneously. Einstein and Podolsky, they had to admit it. They said the past is just as uncertain as the future. Woo. I said, wait, time out, dude, time out. And then I started to study the mechanics behind what that means. And I said, oh, it only becomes fixated if I allow it to ferment in my consciousness. And they showed you how to do this in scripture with the unjust steward, if you know what you're reading, about how to do what, Jew? Alter the facts. Huh? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my main point. It's really to help y'all. Because I'm not for sure if Shikari will ever see this video, or I'm not sure. She may not. Who knows? But that ain't really my goal. I've always been the people's champ guy. I'm with the people to try to elevate the commoner up out of a situation. And this is just good content for me to be able to demonstrate how these rules of mind actually work. Listen, I just posted this the other day. They actually called it they called it the Vlad mirror. Vladimir Guerrero was a major league, big time baseball player. He's got a son who's also in the major leagues, right? How about this? Vladimir Guerrero, it took him 258 games to hit 50 home runs. 258 games to hit 50 home runs. Now, him and his son are obviously decades apart. So you got Vladimir Guerrero Sr. and you got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Jr. is now in the major leagues too. But guess what? It took Vladimir Guerrero Jr. the exact amount of games, 258, to hit the exact amount of home runs, 50, that his father hit. You think that's a coincidence too? I can show you guys these examples till I'm blue in the face. And I put a bunch of them in the book coming out. This is what we call entanglement. Another fancy word for mirrors, because what do they tell you in entanglement? You can have a quantum particle 2 million miles away and another quantum particle 2 million miles away in the other direction. And the moment you impact one of those particles 2 million miles going in one direction, the same thing happens instantaneously. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance. He called it spooky, which is what a lot of people who think they're very intelligent will use in terms of when they're trying to denounce quote unquote spiritual things. And I get it. They call, oh man, y'all being spooky. But boy, let me tell you, there's some things going on at the quantum level that runs contrary to physics as we understand it. Yet, it's happening and it's very real. And it's been validated and verified 1,000,000 times over in laboratories all over the globe. Huh? So me and Aunt Pooh experience this all the time. Why? Because we're entangled. We're constantly talking about the same data. We're bumping ideas off each other's mind. No, what do you think about this? Jew, man, you won't believe this. Da, 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 da. Then one day, Jew finds $100 on the ground. And then 3 days later, Aunt Pooh finds $100 on the ground. And then we laugh about it. It be stuff like that. Because see, what happens to me is bound to reach him. What happens to him is bound to reach me. But see, they show you this in these other experiments, huh? About people who just do, people who listen, man. They got experiments out here, man, where people can just visualize touching somebody's hand. And the EEG machine of the person who they visualize touching the hand, the EEG machine goes off on that person as if they're physically being touched. These are real case studies. So, like Drake said, and I put it in my book, see, the power of the mind is not a joke. And what did he say? This some shit that I wrote when I was broke. This some shit that I wrote when I was broke. I took pen to paper and I started to create. What Jigga say about Nas? You scribbled in your notepad and created your life. He don't know how profound that bar was. Huh? But boy, in the book, I got some examples for you about this pen and how this pen has created a whole lot of trouble for some folks and it's created a whole lot of glory and praise and prosperity for some folks too. So look, man, if you can get down to Atlanta the weekend of July 24th, get down there. Be in the building. The tickets are on Eventbrite. I put it in the box, in the description box below. If you want to meet us down there, we're going to have a really good time. Friday, I'm going to kick it with my members. We're going to have a members only get together. It's going to be dope. And then Saturday, we're going to do the book release. Everybody get a signed copy upon entry to the location. I put it in a place where it's a studio. You know, they're going to have us mic'd up. It's going to be kind of like a podcast feel. And then Sunday, we're going to go up to Stone Mountain for a couple hours and put some of that old school galactic activation work in, right? So, yeah, man, I just wanted to come on and touch on it from that angle, man. But Sha'Carri is mirroring Flojo. And these things that are happening, regardless of how they happen, they must happen. The moment that you decide who you're going to mirror, unless you know how to put some hurdles, right? You got to put some hurdles in some spots or some barriers in some spots, right? To understand how to sidestep some of the things that you may not want to co-create and simulate. You see? So if y'all want to help Sha'Carri, let me tell you how y'all help Sha'Carri. Visualize Sha'Carri winning the 100-meter dash this year in Tokyo. Just do it and see what happens. If you really care about her the way you care about her, everybody's pouring out all this emotion. Oh, she's one of us. And I get it. Listen, I'm rooting for the sister. I'm glad she's accomplished and got as far as she got. But I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I know. Let me tell you something, man. I got my partner, Aunt Pooh, my brother, he's a millionaire. In 2 years. In 2 years. How, Jew? Every time I call him, Jew, I got all my stuff on my board. All them properties that he got, he created vision boards with them properties laid out about how he was going to acquire them. And look where he's at 2 years later. Huh? I'm speaking from experience. From my own portfolio of how I moved up in my life, replicating some of the greats, some of the people who came before me in my science. And I'm quick to tell people we 7 million in testimonials over the last 5 or 6 years. These are facts. Go over to that page, The Imagination Guru, and take your damn time. Or visit my homie page, Noble Lampu Galileo. I dropped Jews over there for 4 or 5 years straight. Testimonials galore, videos galore, quotes galore, neuroscience galore, allegory, parable galore. Every time you look, that's my only conversation piece. I ain't got nothing else to talk about. I don't care really about nothing else. Why? All I care about is the cause of the phenomenon of life, which is mental. It's mental. So, ain't nothing else to talk about, really. But how to perfect that. Huh? As Hermes says. What does Hermes say? The master is the one who knows that mind and speech is the upper echelon of reality. And he says, these will be his guides, even when he quits the body. Huh? Mind, speech, image, tongue. But Nipsey Hussle say, I spoke some things into the universe and they appeared. Or the other young lady who I just posted on my Instagram page, listen, man, she was doing TikTok videos of herself saying, I am going to be an Olympian. I'm going to the Olympic game. And she was singing and laughing and smiling and happy and joyful and gleeful. I'm going to be an Olympian. I'm claiming it now. I'm going to the Olympics. She had like 5 or 6 different videos where she made this collage. And then she had her flowers and she had her American flag. And she was waving the flag and said, when she finally see, I told you guys I was going to do it. I said I was going to do it. And now I'm going to the Olympics. And they got whole articles on this young lady talking about how she manifested her way to the Olympics. I'm not making this up. See, we know it's real, right? We know it's real. But the question is, do you know the mechanics of how to operate it? To get result after result after result after result after result. Huh? So, man, I guess if somebody got some questions over here, I take a couple questions. If not, what we at, Drew? 52 minutes? I usually try to throw this thing about an hour. No people attention span short. But anybody, any questions? I see y'all in the chat piece. Henry, California, Essence, Starry Skies, X, what's good? What's good? Somebody say, I'm still getting new on old work. I'm to the priesthood. Happy serious alignment to y'all. Appreciate that. Same to you, man. Anybody got any questions, man? While we here, or we can tune this thing out and fade to black. Somebody said new bread on old work. Yeah, that's that wishing well technique. You gotta listen, man. You gotta condition your mind for what it is that you want. Right? Listen, I played basketball, man. I was a point guard on my high school squad. Right? Let me tell you something about my coach. Before we even picked up a basketball, we used to have to run the halls, run the stairs, suicide goal. Anybody that play ball know what that means. Free throw line, baseline. Baseline, half court, baseline. Baseline, free, up and down. Right? So you were standing there with your hands on your knees, you trying to gasping for air. And why am I bringing that up? Our coach put an emphasis on get yourself in condition first before you even pick up the basketball. Because guess what? If you can't run up and down the court with a well-conditioned and well-coached opposition or opponent, they're going to run you off the floor. It's going to be a layup drill. You got to condition yourself first before you even, because you're probably gifted. You got natural skills. I could pass my ass off. Great. Vision has always been my thing. Great at assistant, passing the ball. right? And that trait carries over with me into my membership. I love watching other people win around me. Y'all see how enthusiastic I be when I'm posting these testimonials for people, right? I love giving an assist. Go ahead, you shine. You make the shot, right? Because see, you on my team, we all gonna win. And can't nobody say I was selfish playing that way, right? So it ain't never been all about you. But the thing is, conditioning. You got to condition your mind first, right? So that's what these techniques do. All these techniques I create help you condition your mind first. That way, guess what? Once you know exactly what it is that you want, you can anchor that along with the technique that you've already done to condition. You've made the soil fertile in your mind so that you can plant your garden of Gethsemane up top, right? So that's what we're doing, man. Visit the website, theimaginationguru.com. I dropped some of the links. You can join the membership. It's a link for the membership in the description box, a link for the wishing well in the description box. I just appreciate you guys coming out to kick it with me on a Friday, man. I know y'all, it's warm out. People out enjoying the weather, man. It's summertime, so I understand. But I ain't going to hold y'all much longer, man. I appreciate the support, man. Appreciate y'all coming over. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. And I see y'all on the next broadcast. Peace.